Thumb in the air. One of these days.
Edifier T5, no longer available on Amazon because I'm an idiot and I bought it 3 months ago. And I'm like, I'll get around to it. Now here we are with that wallpaper and this thing, and it's half the price of the Emotiva S8. And I'm just like, this is me. This is all my fault. I did this to you guys. Make sure that doesn't come on. Okay, so this is a subwoofer. And if you could do math and you know what I'm talking about, the S8 is a $250 sub. This is a $130 8-inch sub. And it's ported, and doesn't have, this is the bottom, here's the bottom. I just don't have it on the feet so I could slide it around to the desk. It's because Zeus is a thinker. Pull the cover off, hold on. You might recognize this subwoofer, however, when I did the S350dB Edifiers, that 2.1 system that I used to use on my desk. Yeah, this was basically the sub for it. And when I saw the sub just completely on its own for $130, I'm like, well, that's a stupid no-brainer. So I grabbed it, paid for it. Here's go, Patreon money, go. And it arrived, and the first place I put it was in my living room. I figure you got to break in any moving driver, anything with a surround like this, and there's a spider behind it that needs to just move, just like wearing pants and you break in your pants. It just has to be used for a little while. So I said I'll use it as my point one. Don't use this as your point one. Certainly not in a living room like mine, where there's an expectation of bass. This little baby could not keep up. There was a couple scenes where it was like, oh, that's fine, and then there were some. Then there was just the sound of ah. It was bad. The sound of bottoming out. It was bad. She saw it. It was bad. And so now that I've pretty much relinquished this to desktop only use, here we are on a desktop. Swan D1090s, which probably don't need a sub, but on a desk with a weird acoustical space, which this is actually a terrible room for desktop speakers. I want to point that out. Like this speaker's here, it's fine, but there's like 5 feet to that corner, and this has got basically the most elaborate and expensive sound break behind it. And you don't get a lot of low end coming from this. If I walk out of the room while the speakers are playing, I'll hear the low end, but it's never here. So a sub would fix that lull. You wouldn't put it on the desk right here unless you're a baller, but it's just being used as an example. Now, I guess if you can't buy this sub, you can't buy the sub. I'll link a couple other cheap 8-inch subs. I just like Edifier because this thing is well fucking built. The lines are straight. There's no errors there. Everything's put together super well. The driver is nice. We look at the back without destroying my entire, without destroying my entire desk. What am I hitting? Why am I the worst at this game? Oh, that's why. That's a chunk. That's a chunk. I can't really put it on its face either. Okay, so I'll do this. This is professional. Figure 8 power input, main power bus switch. This is an LED with the word indicator above it. Okay. Volume min max. LPF, which is low pass frequency. It says 30 hertz to 160. I highly doubt this will do clean to 30 hertz. Just pointing that out. And then phase 0 180, and there's a timing thing. On this desk, since I have it right here, the difference between that and this hitting me is great enough that flipping that switch actually makes it sound better. It's basically just you try it one way, you try it the other way. Okay, this one sounds better. It's just a timing thing. When you have it on the floor, it'll be different if it's 0 or not 0, which is really your only choice. Then you have 2 sets of RCAs. Signal in, which in this case is coming, and I'm going to describe how I'm wired up, because this is basically how you have to do, if you want to add a subwoofer to your desk, there's only a handful of ways to do it if you don't have something like an S8. This has RCA pass-throughs, but unlike the S8, which I guess I'll link in the description, this doesn't remove the low end that was supposed to go to the speakers. So those are getting the exact same signal they were always getting. And this is getting the exact same signal those are getting. This is just going to do the low end, and it's up for those to not. So I could turn the bass knob down if I wanted to try to balance it. But we're getting input signal from that topping D90 there, It's actually wrapping through the Emotiva, but ignore that. Topping D90, which is a DAC slash preamp. It's important that you know that. It's important that you know that this volume control here adjusts the volume, because that's now in charge of the entire system. If you don't have a volume control at the very start, whether you're willing to do it in foobar or have a DAC with a volume knob, it's SU8, something like that, you can't do what I'm doing. Just pointing this out. Unless you have a mini DSP. Then it's also controlling beforehand. Quiet. Quiet. I'm thinking. Here's your line in. Here's your signal in. These Amazon Basics RCAs, which are really nice. And then here's my signal out, which is the world's best cables, which are even nicer. And they go out to the line in of whatever speaker. Now, I just happen to have the Swan D1090s here. You could have Atom T5Vs. You could have any number of powered speakers. In just the same configuration, only RCA goes there and RCA goes there. JBL 305P, things like that. However, I'm yawning. Let me yawn, please. I'm allowed to. If you had passive speakers up here, you would have to have some sort of amplifier. Now, if you had something like a SMSL SA50 with a volume knob on it, that wouldn't destroy this whole concept. And if you had like a crown, which is not meant to have the volume knobs in the front touched, this all still works for that. It's all just a matter of getting the very first piece of equipment in line to controlling the volume. And this could be a passive unit. It doesn't have to be a DAC with this. It could be I'll link there. It could be a shit sys, which is just an RCA input and an RCA output and a volume knob. As long as you can crush the volume of everything else down the line, you can add a sub to things. So let me show you how it's done. RCA out into this, here. RCA out from this into that, there. Now, these Swans have a remote control and a volume to them. So if I play music, I can go on the side and I could lower it, and all of a sudden, all we hear is a sub. So the ultimate goal, the way you'd set something like this up is, you would max out your source. There, 0. So that's as loud as it could ever get. The whole system. We've got that on 0. So now, you could set the sub to as loud as you'd ever want the sub to get. Now this is not the greatest, wow. This is not the greatest song for this, because it's not exactly like the most energetic, violent song. You want the loudest, most badass fuck you song. Oh my god, I can't believe it. We got some farting happening there, so let's just lower that a little bit. So that's about right. You won't hear that chuff when it's on the floor where it's supposed to be. So now that we've got this playing AC/DC's right on, you raise this until perfect. And now, assuming that's as loud as you want anything to ever play ever, you lower that and you're good to go. You never touch the volume control on this again. You never touch the volume control on this again. That's where your volume is controlled. The end. Or to that. Or any piece of equipment that is just there to crush the signal down at the very start of it. Now, if this was a speaker amp here, instead of the volume knob being on the side of the speakers like it is, you would have a volume knob on your desk. And you would do exactly like I just did. You would set it, put a piece of blue tack, like the poster tack I use for everything, on the volume knob so it never moves, and then slide it to the back of your desk. You never touch it again. And then you're just controlling signal source. You're just coming back here and you're to control everything there. Once you have control over the start of your signal source, you have control over your whole desk. And you could add a sub like this. Like, its system just happens to have an RCA pass-through. Even if you got a sub that didn't have an RCA pass-through, just had left and right in, I will link in the description just RCA males with 2 females. You would just take this wire, plug it into one of the splitters, take this wire, plug in the other end of the splitter. The signal would just pass into the splitter, into the sub, and out. Wouldn't get affected. It's just like this. This is just a pass-through. I could get a splitter right now and accomplish the same thing. It's just convenient that this subwoofer happened to offer RCA pass-throughs. It doesn't need to have them. You could just add them on your own. Hell, you could add them to the back of the speakers too. You could run the signal source to the speaker and then a speaker out on a splitter down to the sub. It makes no difference. Everything's just sharing and touching. With the S8, with the Emotiva S8, which was $300. It was $300. I thought it was $250 in my mind for a second. I was wishful thinking. That physically removes low end through a crossover mechanism. So you have to run to the sub first and then out, and then it takes away from this, so you don't have to worry. This doesn't have to worry about low end. Whereas this case, I would have to go here and have to lower 3 notches. So now that produces less bass. This is trying to take over the bass. The LPF, the low pass filter, which is basically, if I mute this, if I mute that, and then I raise this, the low pass filter basically determines how much of the frequency is coming into the sub. So that's all the way down, and that's all the way up, which is trying to basically be a speaker. Like, I'm pretty sure you won't get a content ID match with this, but you turn it up. Wish he was singing for that scene, but he wasn't. Switching songs, because, you know, it's just my luck. It'll be just that song will get me blocked from the internet. Game of Thrones. There's no singing in Game of Thrones. Genesis, Invisible Touch. Now we're talking. If I turn this up. Actually, it's doing a very good job. A lot of crossovers let vocals through, and this is not. It's bringing it up to about the 160 hertz mark, but it's not letting vocals through. It shouldn't in most subs, but I've had so many issues with that. So basically, now I'm going to set my volume here. Get this to 0. That's too much. That's too much. I'm basically going to take only the very, very bottom of the spectrum and keep it like at a nice, like gentle bit. And then we'll mute this. Maybe a little more volume there. And now it's perfectly blended. And you never touch any of the volume control but the volume control of your source. And that's it. You're done. You're fucking done. So that's a little lesson in how to set up like a 0.1, a 2.1 if, you know, you only have powered speakers. And this could be, again, any powered speakers. Just the only difference if these were LSR 305s or 305Ps would be one of the RCAs would go to the other side instead of both, and then you would adjust the volumes in the back individually. How's this sub? Well, it doesn't work that well in a room, like a big room. Like my living room as a 0.1, it was not happy. The chuffing you heard, yeah, multiply that by 4 fucking million, and it's like, but I know for a fact this sub will work because it works with the all-in-one S350DB. I'll link that setup in the description as well. Yeah, I'll link it. With this like beautiful cone with the metal center, and then you have like just to shut the fuck up, it's just a subwoofer front, which is pegged in there and not magnets, which is fine. If you balance it right and you don't push it too hard, for $130, this is a great sub for a desk. It really is. I mean, I wouldn't put it again on the desk. I'd put it on the floor, and then that makes it more difficult to do your setting up, but you should only have to set it up once. 4 or 5 different tracks, as loud as you want it to play ever. Set that as loud as you want it to play ever. I would do the sub, either do the speakers as loud as you want, oh my god, loud, first, and then raise the sub to match, or set the sub where you think you like to feel the bass, and then match it with the speakers. Either one works. There's not much to say about this sub. It'll probably be in the yard sale. Like I got to keep the S8, which was nice of Emotiva, but they don't want it back because it's been touched by my hands, and therefore it is ruined. But this is small enough, and I have the original box. I'll probably just stand it up on its feet for you guys. Oh, ta-da! Yeah, this is it. This is just I actually had this before the S8. And when the S8 showed up, I was so enamored by the amount of features and hookup options and everything. I went, no one's going to buy this. No one's going to, why would anyone buy this? But it's less than half price if it's available, which it fucking currently is not. And it's still a decent sub. It's not as good as the S8 in any way, shape, or form. That port chuff is why I am so happy that the S8 is a passive radiator, because passive radiators can't chuff. It's just another speaker driver moving in it. Hold on. There you go. Wait, that's hard to do. Holy shit. That's like rub your stomach and pat your head at the same time. It's when you got that going on, there's no way for air to go which is what that's doing. And I blame B&W for this, by the way. Those fucks, or is it Focal? One of those high-end speaker companies that I know of patented the ability to put the little dimples, like the golf ball dimples, on the cone, which would prevent a lot of that noise. But they own the patent on it, and they won't let anyone fucking use it. So fuck you, B&W. I think it's you. I think it's B&W. It's not B&O. I think it's B&W. So that means all ports chuff. And I wish there was just like a tape you could put on this that would add those speed holes, essentially, and smooth out the air. Or slow the air down or curve the air. With the cover on this. This is it. This is a short review. I mean, it's not like... This is not the powerhouse to end all things. I was super excited about the S8. But this does exist, maybe. And you can hook it up, like I'm showing you. All you need is an extra set of RCAs to go from source to this, from this to speakers. The end. And I'll link, obviously, the world's best cables, but, you know, there's cheaper ones out there. You can get a stereo pair of quote-unquote subwoofer cables from Amazon Basics for like 15 bucks. And those are like 8-foot lengths. But yeah, no, that's it. I'm sorry, baby. I didn't... If I would have like whipped this review out in like a week from getting this, there'd probably be a 15 of you watching right now with these blasting with my voice over it. And then when I do the barrier white, you would really feel it. But I didn't. That wallpaper, which has a lot of low end, is available in the description. All wallpapers are available on my Patreon and Subscribestar. Those support this channel and the efforts and buy things like this. So Emotiva may send me S8s, but I'm out there going, holy shit, I want to buy that T5, and then I do. And if you like that sort of thing, support on Patreon or Subscribestar. They have the exact same benefits. $5 tier gets you into the yard sale, which this will be in if you want to buy this. It's not available anymore. It was worth $130 when I got it new. If you bid on it for $97.35 and you win, if you're the high bid and you're in the continental United States, I ship to you for free, which means I lose more money, but that's fine. And if you're international, you'll pay half shipping. And on a subwoofer, it's going to suck. Just a warning. You're out there in India or Kyrgyzstan or Italy or Japan, this could be like a $200 sell. It's a heavy bastard. This could be $200 a ship, which means it'll cost me $100 and you $100, and then I definitely don't make my money back. It's gonna be great, but I'll do it. I'll do it. If you bid, I'll do it. It's just know that it's gonna cost. That $10 Telegram chat, which is if you want to upgrade from the $5 to the $10, you still get all the benefits of the $5. You just get into the behind-the-scenes private Telegram chat with like 300 people that are absolutely insane, and they're the people I tell about things first. They know everything first, and make a lot of decisions for this channel. Like a couple like ones, like what should I review first, or what should I do, or do you think I should review this at all? So those are the people I go to because apparently they pay me the most. So I mean, I'm the whore in this situation. Yeah, and then don't forget to check out Hi-Fi Guides and the Hi-Fi Guides forum, which should have a post on home theater, which I don't know. I guess the only place for subwoofers would be in the home theater post section of Hi-Fi Guides. Why is there a hair on this? I hate it. But by all means, do not put this in a large room home theater. On a desk like this, with a room about this size, you'll get away with it. Any more required out of this, and you're just going to have port chuff. Are we good? Good, because I feel that steak repeating on me, and I'm going to go stick my head in the toilet because I'll feel much better afterwards. Don't forget to download that, by the way. Bye-bye.